There we go.
Is it on?
Yeah. Now it is.
Okay, then you find the record button?
Yep. I know
Okay.
what the record button. Here we go.
Good, thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Wendell.
Bet.
Okay, so I want to introduce Grace Hartog. And I'm just gonna let her tell about herself because it's much more interesting to listen to her than me. So, Grace was a teacher, and she actually brought some papers and certificates along to show you that she has held on to. She grew up in Hull, and I'm talking, be quiet. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And of course, my first education was at home. My parents taught us the ways of the Lord and that there should be love. So that was my first schooling. But then I went to a country school. That's a one-room school. And they have 8 grades. And then I went there for 8 years. Well, I should say 7 because I could skip the second year because we could learn from each other. And there was something about the country school. Oh, it was a beautiful place. And we had so much fun being in the country school. Of course, we had nothing, but what we had, we could use. Like at Christmas time, we had a beautiful program. We'd hang up the curtains and we'd give a Christmas program. And the children would dress like wise men, and then we'd pull the curtains. And so that was one of the beautiful things that I learned in the country school.
How many kids were in your class, Greg? Do you remember?
In the grade school, in the country school, about 20 in 8 grades.
And one teacher for all of you.
And then we had one teacher in one schoolroom.
Did you have a lunchroom?
Pardon?
Did you have a lunchroom?
No.
Like a cafeteria?
Syrup can.
Syrup can.
Yeah, we took our own lunch. But then, years ago, we had syrup cans. Of course, you don't remember them now, but they're and then you lift the lid, and then our lunch would be in the syrup can. And then my mom would fix that in the morning, and we usually had a bread and a fried egg. Because when I went to, of course, this is still in grade school, you know.
Can you tell us about your family?
Oh, my family. Okay. We lived on the farm, and there were 10 children, 7 girls and 3 boys. And I was chosen during the Depression years by my parents and my family that I could go to school. And I'll show you my diploma. You can look at that. And so then I went to Western Christian High. And you want to know about my transportation?
Yes.
Oh, I would walk. Well, we lived about 3 miles from, 3 or 4 miles from school. But then if I'd hurry, then I'd get to the gravel road, and then the public school kids would pick me up and give me a ride. But it was snow, rain, or sun. I would walk to school. And that's why I guess I became a good walker. But now I need a little help. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask?
So you started in the elementary school, that was 8 grades, and then you went to Western Christian after that?
Western Christian High
Okay.
in Hull.
And then after that, did you go to more school, or?
Oh, I'll have to tell you about that. But,
So you graduated what year?
I graduated in 1937, and this was the happiest day of my life when I received my diploma.
Were you the only one in your family who got a diploma?
At that time, yeah. Because during the Depression years, see, the Depression years were from 1937 to 1944. And I went 4 years to Western Christian, and then I started teaching. But,
So tell us about your teacher training.
yes, I will. First of all, I'd like to see you. My diploma.
It's our high school diploma.
Okay, and then I had my teacher's training at Westmar College
You're in
in
Westmar?
Lamar's. And, yes.
Yeah.
And then that was 12 weeks teacher training.
Yeah, that's why Westmar is rules. And so after you took your 12 weeks, then you had to, what did you have to do? You had to take a test?
Yes. Because and we would go to the county seat, and we could spend a whole day there and take our exams. But we couldn't take them at school, we took them at the county seat. And then first of all, if we would pass the test, let's see, I should have the first grade certificate.
Yep. It says County Teacher Certificate, first grade. This certifies that Grace Vanderwerf on August 5th, 1941.
Yeah, that was my, this was my, I first received the second grade, and this was in 1937.
It has your grades on there,
This is
Grandma.
my certificate.
Did you not, your grades are on there?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay.
Because if I wouldn't pass, I wouldn't be able to get my teaching certificate. And then, of course, we would go to the county superintendent at the courthouse, and we could sit there all day. And thankfully, the Lord used me in a special way, because I definitely had my mind made up that I would like to be a school teacher. That's a very rewarding thing, and we work with children. And the only remember, once a teacher, always a teacher.
Tell them about when you met Dr. Yuffer this morning.
Oh. Yeah, because I was there, Juffer in the class here. A
And
Juffer.
No, there's no Yuffers or Juffers.
Ireton, that was in Ireton, yeah.
So so what happened when you met him this morning?
Oh, I thought it was one of my students. I taught in Ireton, and then there was a Jeffer family. There was, and they had 12 children, and he was the banker there in Ireton, and that was in 1937 when I went to Ireton. And when their youngest one started school, he went to school a whole year, never said a word. And at the end of the year, he was the smartest one of the whole school. And later on, he became, what did he say? He became
A banker.
A banker.
Do you want to pass that around, or did we do that one already?
I can, because
Second grade?
it's a second grade. But see, then if in 1937, when I would pass all my exams, I would get my teaching certificate. And then after 12 weeks of teacher training at, at Lamar's at Westmar.
So can you tell us about, your first teaching assignment?
Oh, yes. So, anyway, is that the first grade?
The one right before.
This is second.
This one's first grade.
Second. It should be a first grade.
Yeah, I handed them all, first grade and second grade. Oh, no, here's another one.
Because,
So did you have to, you took a test for each grade that you wanted to teach?
So when you got this certificate, could you only teach first grade?
No, that doesn't have anything to do, it was a first grade teaching certificate,
Like your first level,
yes.
and then make it a second level or second grade.
And the first, yeah, because then I'd have to take my exams, and if I would pass my exams, and then I would be, after I'd had my 12 weeks of training at Westmar, I would be ready to teach. And, but I had to pass all my exams, and it's all on my teaching certificate. So then, first I received the second grade teaching certificate, and that was in 1937. And then my second one, after I taught school 1 year, then I was able to get my second grade certificate, but I had to pass all my exams. And if I wouldn't pass my exams, I wouldn't be a school teacher.
So tell us about the first class you taught, the first
Okay.
school you taught in.
And, my first school was, let's see, here's the envelope, it's a county superintendent school. But anyway, I went to Ireton Christian School because I graduated from Western Christian High. Yeah, you saw my diploma. And of course, that was the happiest day of my life. And then I taught in, after I had passed my teaching certificate and received my teacher's training, I taught in Ireton in the Christian school. And when I came there, it was a little old church, and we didn't have running water, no facilities at all. And of course, one teacher, no, there were two of us, we had a principal too. And we would have to teach them sports and music. And of course, sports was mostly outside. And some of my students would come in the morning on pony carts, and we had a pony cart too to go to school. And then our sports, we would do that outdoors.
What kind of things did you play for sport?
Oh, we played like hopscotch and ball. A lot of those little and music, we taught that too, because I quick had to take piano lessons, so I'd be able to teach them how to sing. Because, you know, we didn't have separate music, we had that was all in, you know, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And then sports and music was extra. Yeah, yes,
What kind of music did you teach?
pardon?
What kind of music did you teach? Like, what music did you teach?
Elementary.
Like, did you sing hymnals, or what songs did you sing usually?
Did you sing from hymnals?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah. We sang some secular songs too, you know, because we wanted the kids to be happy. But anyway, I enjoyed being a teacher, and it's a very gratifying thing to be a teacher because we work with the minds of children. Children, well, even high school and college. And it's something that they'll always remember.
So
So,
tell us some of the changes you've seen in teaching or in education over the years. Things you experienced and things today that you think, oh, is there anything that we do today as teachers that you think, oh, I wish they didn't do that, or they're very lucky to do that, or what do you think about education now?
well, it's just, what shall I say? You know, education, it just goes on and on. But I was in the beginning of things because we had nothing to work with. You know, we had to just make our own. And I remember I had the McDuffie books, McDuffie reading books. And then we had not too many textbooks. We had arithmetic, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
So then, when you, tell us about when you met Grandpa. And then.
Okay. I taught 4 years in the Ireton Christian School. And I enjoyed every bit of it, but we had small beginnings. And I was just like one of the kids. I'd go outside and play with them, and that was our sports. And we learned to sing just as a class. There were the two little schoolhouses. And then after I had been there 4 years, and I received $40 a month, and that would pay for my room and board and my education. But then I thought I was there 4 years, and then Sanborn Christian came to Ireton, and they asked me to be their teacher. And then I wasn't ready to leave Ireton because I always enjoyed teaching Ireton because it was during the Depression years and there was nothing you could get. And you just had to make do what you had. But then they offered me $10 a month more. So then I would be receiving $50 a month. That was a $10 raise. And they promised me a husband. And after the Second World War, I did get married. Well, then I taught in Ireton, in Sanborn Christian School.
So tell them about your husband.
Oh, yeah, and then during the Second World War, then most of us went back home, be with our parents. And then I taught in the Christian school at home. But then, oh yeah, they always want to know how I met my husband. But he went to the Second World War. But see, we had a Hartog elevator. That was our place of business. And then in the morning, he would walk to work, and I would walk to school. And then we just kind of waved at each other. And pretended as if he didn't care. But then later on, I did marry him, and we raised 4 children. 11 grandchildren, and 33 great-grandchildren. But my first education was at home, because my family wanted them to learn how to serve the Lord and how to become a Christian.
Can you share with them some of your favorite scripture? You were sharing with me this morning some of your favorite scripture.
Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, and serve the Lord with gladness. And you make each day count, no matter how bad it is. and you love the children, and they'll love you back. And then another one was my parents, and I said that to my family too. I have no greater joy than to know that my children walk in the ways of truth. You know. Is there anything else you but, yes,
Who was the naughtiest student you ever had?
that I ever had? Well, I think it was a little chauffeur boy. Because, you know, he was in the first grade, and he'd come to school because his parents would bring him to school, and then he'd run away. And of course, I always ran after him, catch him. And then when he was in the classroom, he would sit there all day and never say a word. But at the end of the year, he was the smartest one. And he became a banker just like his dad.
So what did you do for discipline at school?
Now you can't discipline or else he'll take you to court. When we were teachers, you know, we were free to discipline them. Of course, we did it within our means, you know, but then we set them in a corner or I wasn't very good at, well, I knew there had to be discipline, because if you don't have discipline, you can't teach. You know? And of course, then you weren't afraid to apply discipline, because you could still handle discipline. But nowadays, that's all changed. You know. So throughout my teaching years, you know, I could see it go from bad,
The worst?
bad, worse, and better. Oh, yes, I would see many improvements.
Could you tell which students were disciplined at home and which ones were not?
Oh, yes, because we had no problem with broken homes. Because not, in the Depression years, there were no broken homes, because they learned to stay together. But now, some of the children that go to school, they come from broken homes, and it's hard to teach them, but still love them, and that's what they need. And if you get to be a teacher, that's the first thing in your life. Love them and serve the Lord.
Write that down. Anybody have questions? I'm asking if anybody has questions or if you're wondering about anything. She'll answer anything.
Yes.
Oh, it will.
Okay.
How many years did you teach for?
Pardon?
How many years did you teach for?
Well, I done it for quite a few years, but then the Second World War, I was married after the Second World War, and then I taught in kindergarten 4 years too. And then I tried to teach in junior high, but I wasn't qualified for that. No.
Did you teach after your children were born?
I waited until the children were grown up. Yes, and then I taught kindergarten for 4 years.
Did you have to get recertified after that time, or could you just like go right back into it?
No, I had my certificate because I took part of my education at Westmore College, but then that closed. And then I continued in Familia. And I didn't get so far as to get my first grade teacher, first grade certificate. I favorite memory? Oh, I think playing with the kids, because I was just a kid myself. You know. Because after I graduated from high school, I was about 18, 19. And you'll find out that that really helps the children, you know, if you play with them, because that's part of their life, and children should be happy. And I know there's difficult times, but then we should see to it that our children are happy. They learn much better, and they learn to respect other people, build up their character. You know. But teaching is so different now than what it was in 1937. You know.
So did any of your other siblings?
But I still enjoyed it, no matter how difficult it was, you know.
Grandma, did any of your other siblings get to finish school then?
Not right away, but I was chosen by my parents and my family that during the Depression years that I didn't go to school, but I had to be a teacher or something, or mission work. And so I stayed with it the best I could because my exams. But then you also got to think of your personal life. Because, you know, when you get to be a junior in high school or so, oh, you like to have a boyfriend, you know, and I wasn't any different. But I came home with a boyfriend one time, and my dad met me at the door, and he'd say, boys for school. And the Lord said, go to school. So I finished school, and that's why I taught school for so many years.
You don't know what happened to that boyfriend? That first boyfriend, he's gone?
He went to the Second World War.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. But then, I came from a large family. I told you that, 7 girls and 3 boys.
Were you the oldest, or?
I was the 3rd one. So the responsibility of the family was partly mine too.
Were the first 2 boys or girls?
No, it was a boy and a girl, and then me. Yeah. And of course, those days, we didn't have an English language. And most of our forefathers came from Holland. So then my catechism and some of my schooling and so on in my home life, we talked Dutch a lot. But then during the Second World War, that all changed. It was English. That was it. You know. Anything else you'd like to know?
So one of our strategies in our teaching social studies book is to use guest speakers as living examples of history. So do you think having someone like Grace come into your classroom would be beneficial for your students? Yes, very much so. So as a teacher, it's good for you to start building up a list of people who can come in who can be experts on something. Okay? Okay. No other questions? Then we'll just say thank you.
Well, I enjoyed being here. Education means a lot to me, and I like to see everybody be well educated. You know.
Our oldest grandson teaches at Dort.
But I had grandkids I graduated from Northwestern. So in our family, the rivalry is over. You they've learned to get along. And they, I know Ross Dahlma, he graduated from Northwestern, but he's a teacher at heart.
He'll figure it out.
Yes.